Are you ready to carve your own future? What are you doing to take care of your mind, body, and spirit? Mental and emotional burdens have become normal in our lives. Do you take time for self-care and self-love? Let's ignite our potential and let's take off into the future. Let's put you before anything else. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Youth Talks. Today we have a very special guest. This is one of our Sookshma students, Kairavee. She is so amazing, and she's absolutely wonderful to have to talk to you today. She's part of our group sessions as well. So welcome, Kairavee.
Thank you for having me. I'm 13 years old. I just started my first year of high school in grade 8. For my hobbies, I learned Bharatanatyam and learning from my mom. I've been learning since I was 3 years old, and it's so much fun, and it's so amazing. I got to know Sookshma Meditation through my mom and my sister. They learned since my mom moved to Canada, she's known about it and been learning it for so long. And I've heard about it since I've been growing up. And in March, I started attending the live Facebook sessions and workshops happening online. And it was so inspiring to me to continue this. So starting July, I started attending the sessions with Suman Uncle, and from there I continued.
That's amazing. That's really cool to see. I see you love Bharatanatyam. That's really amazing. I used to do Bharatanatyam when I was little, but I had to stop due to extracurriculars and things like that. But that's really cool. And we're so lucky to have you be a part of our program.
Thank you.
So, how do you think meditation has helped you? I know you mentioned that you've kind of been introduced to it basically since forever for you, I guess, because your mom has been doing it, so is your sister. So what is meditation? What is the impact it has on your life, and what does it mean to you?
So since I was young, I guess I definitely struggled with a bit of anxiety and stress, and having all of that just stuck inside me, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And many times people would tell me to talk to my parents or talk to others, but I just didn't have the confidence to do that. And my mom and my sister, they've been doing meditation, but I never got the chance to do that myself. But ever since I started, I've definitely gained a lot more confidence and found more of a connection through my inner self. And it's helped me, starting a new school this year, I've started having much more confidence in talking to new people and starting different clubs instead of thinking oh, should I do this, should I not? I've just been able to try more things.
That's amazing. Definitely meditation, definitely like you said, builds confidence. I've noticed my confidence is automatically a lot higher, especially right after I finish a meditation session. So that's amazing to hear. Great job for making sure that you involve meditation in your life. So you mentioned that you just started high school. How is that for you? Is it a different environment? I know it's different being online. COVID is not really the best circumstances right now, and I know we all want to have kind of the normalcy in our lives that we were supposed to have. I know I didn't have my graduation. I didn't get to have the first year of university like I wanted to, but how are you dealing with it? What is high school like for you?
Well, this year actually we are going in school 5 days a week. Yeah, so it's definitely not like the normal routine that we would think. We're doing a quarter system where we have 2 classes for 10 weeks, and we have to cram all of that education in those 2 months. And it's been going so fast, and just test after test, and just knowledge. It's basically self-learning just because the teachers can't do much to help you so fast. Yeah, so it's definitely been very stressful, but it's still fun going to new school and making new friends.
That's amazing to hear. It's good that you're finding the positives in the situation. It's definitely hard to look at that, especially when there's so much going around. So good on you for that. But definitely it's challenging because it feels like the burden's all on you to learn everything, and it shouldn't be that way, right? I mean, how are we supposed to just go to class and learn everything ourselves. What's the point of having a teacher at that point, right? So that's definitely a really big challenge that I think that most teenagers are going through right now. Not just us, but honestly, even from like kindergartners, because it's a whole new experience, um, and it's a lot of difficult and sometimes negative and sometimes positive change, right? So obviously, high school is a very different setting, especially with COVID. So, what are some of the key challenges, I guess you could say, that you think you're facing right now?
I think for me, it's getting used to talking to new people. I've always been very shy, um, and like I've been in the same school for 8 years. I've gotten so used to talking to the same group of friends, the same teachers, and knowing this environment. But suddenly changing that and having to get used to it so fast, and because like because of COVID and everything, they didn't have time to do like a grade 8 fun day or a camp or something to get to know each other or have those type of like fun events. So it's all kind of by yourself, and it's like very hard for, I know a lot of my friends and everything, they're having a difficult time coping with that too.
Yeah, for sure. It's difficult being by yourself. I know sometimes when we're angry, we think, "Oh, I just want to be alone." But I think when you are alone by yourself or you feel alone all the time and you're just kind of in the same room, you realize that it's not the ideal situation and you miss being around people, right? And I think it's so important that we surround ourselves with loved ones, even if it's just checking with your friends through social media or something like that. It's good to make sure you're constantly surrounded by people, right? But yeah, definitely it's one of the biggest challenges I think that many youth are facing. But how do you think meditation and the Sookshma program can help with this and cope with this?
I've noticed in me that like doing meditation has boosted my confidence and energy levels a lot. And many people going into high school have a lot of struggle of seeing if they will fit in with the crowd and if they're going to be popular or whatnot. But just knowing that, like finding your inner self and being able to like shine through that and show people your true self, that's what's going to help you um, make friends or talk to people in school, because you're going to be confident in what you are and not like worry about what other people think about you.
Definitely, confidence is certainly key. It's so, so critical to have in every aspect of life, whether it's meeting new people or just simply being confident within yourself, right? Because it shines through and that's how you portray yourself to the external world. So definitely, I think that's you basically nailed it. Amazing. Um, so with high school and being kind of in the same room, I know at least you get to kind of go out to school a little bit and come back. But for example, for me, I'm in my room studying all day, and it's really really hard for me to focus at this point because there's just so much happening, and I don't really have many outlets to kind of express myself anymore because of COVID. How do you think you can cope with this mental stress and build more focus?
Well, for me, I'm like a type of person that I need to talk to people to get all that stress out of my head. So, like after school, I find myself telling my mom every single thing that happened in school, what I learned, what I did, and it's like helping me to let go of anything that I'm thinking of. And from that, like if you're stuck in a room and just doing work all day and taking those breaks and communicating with people that it's like a way of taking a break from all that stress and just letting everything go inside of you. Yeah.
That's definitely really, really important. I think being able to express your emotions and talk things out with people is really, really important. Good on you for opening up to your mom like that. I know
Mhm.
a lot of teenagers have a difficult time with that. We feel that like our parents don't understand anything because oh, they're so much older than us. But
Mhm.
realistically, they've gone through the exact same thing that we've gone through, right? They've
Mhm.
gone through life, they've gone through the emotion, they've gone through the piles of homework that we're having to face.
Mhm.
So they know what it's like, and I think it's so important that, like you said, it's important to open up to our parents and really express emotions because the more you suppress things and the more you keep bottling things up, it's just going to come back and bite you, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important. So that kind of leads me directly to the next question, which is emotions. I think a lot of us have struggle either expressing them or kind of stabilizing them. And I think meditation plays a really key role, and especially Sookshma meditation, what we do with our programs, has a really critical role in being able to kind of contain. How do you think so far Sookshma has helped you kind of take care of your emotions and kind of help you stabilize them?
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned this before, but many times I would bottle up all of that feelings and all of these emotions inside of me, and then like all of a sudden I would find myself just like falling apart and just crying it all out, and there was definitely not a healthy pattern to keep doing that to yourself, and just yeah, and not talking about it to anyone. Meditation definitely helps you kind of find like that center of everything and to kind of balance everything out, because it's very important to do that so you don't just like continue with that pattern of just bottling everything inside of you and then just losing control after a while.
For sure. Definitely. It's so important that you kind of learn to let go, right? Really, really important. I think meditation really helps you do that because it helps you focus back to yourself and helps you reground yourself, like you mentioned. And I think in so many ways, if you just meditate at least a minute, you can better your day so, so much. And I think the more you practice it and the more you make it kind of a strong point in your life, the more stabilized you'll get. So I think
Mhm.
that's again like really, really critical. So do you meditate every day?
Yeah, I actually try to do it every morning just because it helps me have so much more energy throughout the day. Recently, I've also been trying to do it before going to bed just because how fast we're learning in school. I find myself just thinking about that constantly over and over in my head, and just closing that all up and just finding like that calm, like your calm and inner self is helps me sleep much better just because I've always had trouble with that too.
That's amazing. It's amazing to see that you like have it as like a stability in your life. I definitely need to learn that from you. I still have not really nailed the idea of doing it every single day. But I definitely are learning. I need to learn from you and I start doing that every single day. So good on you for that. Um, so through this meditation, what do you think that like are like your immediate results? Do you see any immediate results?
um Yeah. Sometimes like definitely in the beginning, I was like, I didn't get the point of this. Like I was just because I think during that time I didn't actually know how to meditate properly, and I wasn't actually letting go of all these thoughts, and I didn't see any results. But as I continued like the sessions with Suman Uncle and continued um meditating and practicing every single day, I like found myself um, like acting a lot calmer and feeling much more refreshed and having confidence in myself. And like someone uncle used to say that my face was like glowing after these sessions, and I would just be confused. I didn't understand what that meant, but after like I did feel that all of that like tension in my face was actually released, and going to these group sessions I really saw other people, and it really inspired me to help with myself too.
For sure, yeah. I used to get the exact same comment of the glowing face, and I was
Mhm.
so confused. I used to be like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense. Your face can't do that." But really, it is true. I think, like you said, seeing each other in group sessions, we really see the difference in our faces before and after, and it's amazing that we can really measure and compare that. So meditation really does benefit. I know a lot of people think it's some sort of like mystical thing that belongs in like the caves of like I don't even know, but it's some like really spiritual thing. But honestly, I think it's truly just a self care type of um, commitment, I guess, for yourself. Just like we go to the gym, I think it's also just as important that we work on ourselves. So, what are your ideas? What do you exactly think meditation is? So, like I mentioned, there's a lot of misconceptions around it. So,
Mhm.
what do you think it is for you? What is meditation?
Well, I think I go off like the example of that in my elementary school. It was a Christian school. So I've been going to Christian school for 8 years of my life. And I'm not personally Christian.
Mm,
And I didn't believe in a lot of the stories. But as I grew up, I realized that learning like the lessons and values that the Bible teaches, we can still use that in
mm,
our lives. It's not teaching us anything wrong or telling us to do anything bad. And
for sure.
using those lessons helps us in real life. It's the same thing with Sookshma meditation. We can it's basically science. If we do this, it's going to help us in the long run, and it's going to help us like find inner peace and just build our confidence. And there's nothing wrong with all of us trying to do that. It's just going to help us.
Definitely, yeah. And Sukshma definitely isn't meant for just one person or like a group of people. It's really for everyone. It's for of all people of color, all people, all different religions, everyone, right? There's really no boundary. Um, so I think that's one of the biggest like barriers that a lot of people have when it comes to Sukshma. So going off of that, one of the biggest problems that most teens deal with, I know personally I deal with, is body consciousness. And I know earlier we were talking about how just like we take our body to the gym, we also take our mind to the gym. But that being said, both of those things have a very direct connection. And sometimes when that connection is lost, it shows up in our confidence with regards to our external self. So, how have you dealt with body consciousness, or how have you seen other people deal with that? And how do you think you use or can use the link between the mental and the body aspect to kind of help you overcome that?
Yeah, for like on this topic of body consciousness, I've definitely seen a lot more people like right now than I was like I didn't never saw this when I was younger in elementary school. I didn't see people concerned about what they were wearing or how they looked or how they acted. But like I suddenly see like a lot of people are having this like barrier around them where they don't show their true self and don't want to say much about themselves just because they're afraid what other people will think. With Sukshma meditation, um, you connect with your inner self and understand that there's nothing wrong with you being yourself. You gain that confidence to show your true personality and your characteristics that you might not want other people to see. Like personally, I definitely struggled with people me thinking that people would judge me just because I'm different than everyone or aspects like that. But when I started doing 6 meditation, I just found that my true self is what's going to help other people like find me as a friend or whatnot. Something
For
like that.
sure, definitely. I think, like you just mentioned, if you don't really show your true self, other people can't understand you, right? And you need to be true to yourself and accept yourself first before you expect other people to kind of welcome you in, right?
Mhm.
And it's really important that people understand that in this world, 50% are going to love you, 50% are absolutely going to hate you. And that's okay, right? It's something that we all need to accept. And whether it's about body, whether it's about any aspect, it's important that you come to terms with it for yourself first, and just understand that people are going to love you and people are going to hate you. So that's a really, really good point that you brought up. So body consciousness is definitely one issue that a lot of us are facing today. But I think another thing that a lot of teenagers and honestly adults as well face is peer pressure. It's all around us, it constantly surrounds us because as humans, one of our basic needs is to socialize, right? And with socialization comes peer pressure. So, what are some of the things that you do to kind of mitigate peer pressure, and how do you use Sookshma to combat this?
Um, well, I think that a lot of people are peer pressured to do things because um, they want other people to like them and want to fit in with the crowd. But for me, like I think that I can understand when I know if I do something that's not going to be right, it's not going to be good for me in the future. And understanding that is definitely very helpful because you don't want to do something that you'll regret and something that you know that you might get trouble in or people won't like it. Um, Sookshma meditation is kind of like a way of helping you um, connect with yourself, and a lot of people lean towards, for example, even in high school, like a lot of people relate to and connect to like a lot of drugs and get addicted to that, and that becomes like a source of comfort, but a lot of them don't realize that it's going to help them at that moment and not for a long time. But with Sukshma meditation, the more you do it and practice it every day, it's going to help you more and more in the future. And understanding that is very helpful for me because um, it's like inspires me to meditate every single day more and more often and get in that habit to do it because I know it'll help me in the future.
For sure. And you brought a really good point up about the whole how teenagers often lean towards drugs and other um, momentary pleasures instead of kind of looking after themselves for the long run. And it's so important that we're able to distinguish between good pleasures and bad ones.
Mhm.
Good, for example, is something like meditation, where there are good positive side effects, where you're not really doing any harm to yourself, but you're actually growing and elevating. Whereas the more bad ones, I guess, are things like vaping, drugs, momentary things that give you a kick, but honestly, you're gonna crash, right? Everything, whatever goes up has to come down. I think we all learned that pretty well in high school and throughout middle school, to know that things have consequences, and we need to be able to know the difference between a good consequence, which is a good positive result, and one that's going to be detrimental, right? So, right now, you just entered high school. It's a very, very new environment for you. But do you have anything that you're interested in, like career wise, or something you're really passionate about at this moment?
Yeah, I've always been into writing, and growing up, I always wanted to be an author and write stories. But after growing up and going to different classes, I realized that I enjoyed more of like that nonfiction and history type of writing. So for like the past year or so, I've wanted to go into journalism for so long, just because I love reading, like watching the news or reading about articles and just learning about what's happening in our world.
That's amazing. How did you find this passion?
In school, we did a lot of essay writings about history, and I don't know why, but I enjoyed it. People in my class would hate it so much and be like, "This is so boring and this is torturing me," but I would enjoy it and just find it so much fun.
You should definitely help me with my essay writing. I have so many history papers to write, and it's just so insane. But that's amazing. It's really amazing that you found such an amazing passion at such a young age, um, and it's so important that you keep carrying that forward. What are some things you do to kind of keep your passion alive?
um, well, I think some things, like I definitely had passions when I was younger, but as I continued with them, I realized I wasn't enjoying it as much and I just grew out of it. So, like, understanding that some things are just not going to last is also very important because you're just going to force yourself to continue doing these things that aren't making you happy anymore and you're not enjoying anymore. But wanting to, like, for me, writing journalism and everything is something that I'm very interested in, and always then being curious in classes when you're learning about it, always making sure that you follow that routine of like doing these practices of whatever you're passionate about is very important to keep you interested and keep you on your toes of doing this in the future.
That's amazing. You certainly have a lot of inspiration to give out, and you have a lot of power in the things you say, and you realize so much at such a young age. So that's amazing. Really, really good on you for that. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. So what is the final message you want to leave the youth that are watching right now with?
I think through Sookshma meditation, one of the most important messages is that uh, your inner self is what's most important about you. And it's so important for today's youth to know this because we're so focused on the distractions, and social media influences us so much. And we need to come back to our roots and find that inner self and bring out our personalities to everyone, because that's what's so important. And we need to show what our true selves are, and we don't want to filter that to other people and pretend like we're someone else, because that's not going to last very long, and people will eventually
Mm.
lean away from you. And yeah, so your inner self is what's very important.
Definitely. That's a really, really powerful message. Authenticity is so,
Mm.
so crucial. And I really, really hope that you continue to carry on your inspirational words to everyone and keep spreading that through your eighth grade class and keep growing. And thank you so much for coming onto the show. It's been
Thank you
amazing
for having
hearing you.
me.
Bye.
Bye.